Segment 5, Nikud 2, Nikud Beit. Ma ta'aseh machar barishona. Ma ta'aseh machar barishona. Or, if addressing a woman, Ma ta'asi machar barishona. Ma ta'asi machar barishona. In this activity, you'll increase your skill in describing to a friend how your typical day will unfold. If asked, as suggested by the heading, what will you as an individual, singular, do first tomorrow? It'll be most natural to respond with an I will statement. In this section, you'll learn how to make a variety of I will statements from various verbs. Notice that most I will, that is first common singular verb forms, will call for a prefix of aleph sagol. Aleph sagol as a prefix. Notice this in the table. Since we're already familiar with the third masculine singular, the he, will, yiktol forms, those are provided as a reference point, shaded to the left of the clear column, the yiktol first common singular, which are the I will forms. So consider, for example, how to say I will find. Emtza, emtza. I will lift. Esa, esa. I will give. Etain, etain. Consistently, aleph sagol as a prefix. Let's get acquainted with these additional verbs, which are expressed as I will forms. Yiktol, first common singular. Echtov, echtov. Evkeh, evkeh. Eslach, eslach. E'emod, e'emod. Ekrav, ekrav. Eshbor, eshbor. Eshkav, eshkav. Eshteh, eshteh. Here's a question for you. What do you suppose will happen when the first radical, the first consonant of the shoresh of a verb, is already an aleph? If we wish to make an I will statement, which will require a prefix aleph, what will happen when these two come next to each other? Or what happens when the first radical, the first shoresh consonant, is a yod, and we wish to prefix an aleph? Please follow as we look at the appendix segment corresponding to this portion, and we'll find out what happens with verbs such as these. Here's the appendix portion corresponding to segment 5, Nikud 2, Nikud Beit. Let's take a look at these variations in the yiktol spelling for first common singular, the I will forms. First of all, consider that when the shoresh already begins with an aleph, then the aleph of the prefix will coalesce with the aleph of the shoresh. We see this in ochal, which means I will eat. Notice that it is not spelled aleph, aleph, kaf, lamed, as in ochal, but rather ochal, aleph, kaf, lamed, with the appropriate vowels. So we see the first example in the chart is ochal, I will eat. Another verb beginning its shoresh with aleph is the verb amar, aleph mem resh. It's pronounced omar, if we wish to say I will say, omar. If instead the shoresh begins with an initial yod, then this prefix aleph simply replaces the original initial yod, and it supplies a tzere vowel to go with that aleph. So for the verb yarad, to descend, if we wish to say I will descend, it is ered, the consonants aleph, resh, dalet. Please note that the verb halach behaves as if it were a first yod verb, so we see it presented in this table below. The first verb presented, once again, is ered, I will descend, I will descend. and then elech, elech, I will go. Although a first yod verb like yarad will typically lose the yod, and the prefix vowel, in this case aleph, will earn a tzere, producing ered, as we've just seen, there is one first yod verb which behaves differently. It is the verb yara, yod resh aleph, meaning to fear. In this case, it retains its radical yod, the first consonant. Consequently, notice how it's spelled. Ira, ira, aleph, and then hirik yod. Not a tzere, but a hirik yod, retaining then the yod of the shoresh. This will actually make it easier for us to recognize that this means I will be afraid. The last observation in this appendix segment has to do with hollow verbs. Hollow verbs in the yiktol when we're making an I will, a first common singular yiktol. In this case, it will remind us of what happened with the third masculine singular. That is, whatever is the prefix consonant, in this case aleph, to say I will, is followed by a kamates vowel. So the verb mut, to die, becomes amut, I will die. The verb sim, to put or place, becomes asim, I will place. Now we're able to engage the question that formed the heading for this segment, namely, Ma ta'aseh machar barishona. So take a couple of minutes to think through what tomorrow may hold for you in the first place, or second, or third, and then move ahead to fill in the sentence prompts that you find in the forms, the boxes below. The sentence prompts are as follows. Aleph, machar barishona, beit, hadavar hasheni, gimel, hadavar hashlishi, dalet, hadavar ha-ravi'i. Please complete these prompts, forming your own game plan for tomorrow. And then, as you engage this in class, you'll be asking a classmate what he or she will do first, second, and third, and so forth, and you'll be able to compare your schedules and see if there's any similarity or dissimilarity in the days that you anticipate. Segment Chamesh Nikud Shtaim Nikud Gimel. Here we have a snapshot of the sample verb once again, this time the first common singular of yiktol conjugation for the verb shamar, namely eshmor, eshmor, meaning I will guard.